breastfeeding is so awesome, but how the heck do you do it? I highly recommend that you utilize the services of a lactation consultant, definitely after baby is born, but even before you have the baby. Go to a breastfeeding class, watch how other mothers breastfeed, so you go into motherhood feeling more confident about your ability to breastfeed. So, how do you do it? First, wash your hands because you'll likely be touching your nipple and baby's mouth, and you don't want to get any unnecessary germs into their little body. So you wash your hands, get into a comfortable, supportive chair or position in bed, making sure that your elbows, your arms are propped up by pillows. And we're going to get into the different positions that you can try with baby, but the most common position is the cradle position, where you're just cradling baby in your arms. And so you hold them to your body, skin to skin, and you help to position their head so their mouth is lined up with your nipple, and you just guide your nipple into their mouth. And hopefully baby will start sucking. It's incredible what a natural act this is for newborns to just flow into. And you'll know that baby is latched on when their lips are pouted out and their lips are almost entirely covering your areola. And you'll hopefully be able to hear them swallowing the milk, and you'll feel a letdown. This is like a tingling sensation in your breast as your milk ducts fill with milk and that milk flows out and into baby's mouth. And just kind of play around with the position of your body and baby's body. Often they'll place their top hand on your breast, and their lower hand will maybe just be down on your stomach or cradled around your lower body. So again, just play around with the position until it feels good for you. Look and see how baby's doing. If they seem uncomfortable, adjust their body a bit. And we're going to get deeper into the benefits of a lactation consultant, but I highly recommend you get a lactation consultant to check out your hold and your baby's latch as soon as possible to make any needed adjustments to minimize any unneeded discomfort you have. I already mentioned letdowns a little bit, but I want to explain that a little bit more so you're familiar with the sensations that you can expect. So with the letdowns, again, it's a tingling, sometimes slightly uncomfortable sensation, definitely a very foreign sensation as your breasts fill with milk. And you won't just feel this when baby is actually breastfeeding. You might feel this when you hear your baby begin to cry and your body gets the signal that it's time to feed your baby. You might feel it in the middle of the night at many different times, and that is the signal that your breasts are filling with milk and it could be a good time to feed your baby. So just know that you'll get more comfortable with this sensation. It's not painful, but it can be a little strange. If you're not able to breastfeed when you feel that letdown, it's good to make sure you put in some breast pads or even some tissues down into your bra at this point, because if the milk is not going to go into baby's mouth, it could just leak out. So if you don't want to have huge wet spots spreading out on your shirt, stick something absorbent on top of your nipples. And it's very, very common, especially in the evenings, to leak onto your bed. And eventually the leaking will slow when your body learns to only release milk when baby is feeding. But until that point, I recommend that you maybe sleep with a Chucks pad underneath your body or maybe a soft towel so you're not having to change your sheets every night, because it's already exhausting enough to have a brand new baby. I don't want you to have to do laundry every single night. So even if you don't think you're going to leak, just put that absorbent pad under your body each and every night to prevent leaking. And frequency, how often do you need to breastfeed? This is going to vary for each and every baby, but especially in the beginning, I really, really recommend that you breastfeed on demand. Whenever your baby is acting hungry, give he or she milk. And eventually you'll settle into a schedule and a pattern, but don't force it. Give your baby milk when they're hungry. This is really going to help their early development, help them get back up to their birth weight. And again, it's going to fill them with all those important fats and vitamins and nutrients that they really need to grow into the healthiest possible person. A big question that many mothers have in relation to breastfeeding is, how do I know if my baby is getting enough milk? Because you're not necessarily seeing the milk that's coming out of you, you're not able to measure it. So it can be really difficult to know how much milk your body is producing. The best way to monitor this is, number one, your baby's temperament. If they seem satisfied after a feeding, hopefully that means that they're getting enough milk, but their diapers really tell the best story. So if they're having 6 to 8 wet diapers during the day and 2 to 5 bowel movements in those first few weeks, you're doing good and your baby is likely getting plenty of milk. And your care provider, the lactation consultants, they're like wizards at knowing if your baby is getting enough milk or not. So if in doubt, ask a professional. And know that when you start breastfeeding, you are going to be ravenous. Your body is possibly going to be burning up to 500 extra calories a day just from breastfeeding, which means that you're likely going to be much more hungry. So you don't need to just binge on food, but I highly recommend that you eat when you're hungry and eat really nourishing foods that are rich in protein that will last for a while. And so they'll really create strong, nutritious building blocks for the milk that your baby will receive. And hydration. Oh my gosh, you're going to be so thirsty, especially in the beginning. Always have that giant bottle of water we talked about earlier. Always have that full. Drink water consistently throughout the day, especially when you first start breastfeeding. When I first began to breastfeed, each time he would latch on, I would instantly get a dry mouth and I would just need to guzzle water. So always have your water, drink it even when you don't think you need it. So your diet during breastfeeding and the amount of water that you're going to need while you're breastfeeding is very similar to your pregnancy diet and your pregnancy hydration needs. So you're not going to need to make drastic changes. Keep eating what you used to eat. Keep drinking the same amount of water that you used to drink. And again, tune into that intuition. Eat a bit more if you feel like you need it. Drink a bit more water if you feel like you need it. And finally, know that breastfeeding, yeah, it's pretty weird in the beginning, especially if you've never had a baby before. The idea of milk coming out of your body and being the sole source of nutrients for a tiny human, it's really strange and it's weird. And that's okay if you feel that way. Know that that's normal and it will become more and more natural and organic the longer you do it.